I'm currently in Germany.
Okay, cool. And I'm in
Nice.
Vancouver, on Vancouver Island. So we're all over.
We're all over the place. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. So what are you guys up to in your process and what's going on?
Um, Michelle, do you want to start or do you want
No,
me to
you're
start?
welcome to. Yeah, you go for it.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure I'd be polite. So, right now I'm trying to restart my and if I look over there, it's just because my cat is being mischievous right now, so I might have to run over. But I'm in the journey right now where I'm restarting my YouTube channel. Like I did it a couple years back, and then I stopped due to the reasons that I had mentioned to you in the past, which was like I have a really hard time being in front of camera when I know it's going to be recorded specifically. But in order to face my limiting beliefs, go to the challenge, and do the thing, I've been writing the script for the first video that I wanted to do. It's basically the goal is to focus it around what the next challenge is going to be for the community as well. So Michelle, just so you, in case you haven't seen, I also have a community. And I want to make sure that the YouTube content is valuable in its own, regardless if people join the community or not. And so I've created like a script, but I look at it more like it's just me clarifying the thoughts that are important for the video. And the aspect that I feel the most stuck on is that when I want to actually go to record, and these are the two things that I notice about myself, if I write too much, I'll be too focused on trying to um, read the script versus actually being present. And if I don't write enough, the anxiety comes up, and then I'm not remembering what I'm trying to say. So I'm kind of caught between that quote unquote rock and a hard place, and you know that's the current situation. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And I can totally relate and I can really understand and appreciate the struggle you're at. And I do have some things I'll share that hopefully will help. Um, at this time, Michelle, I just want to throw it to you for a sec. Is this something that resonates with you as well? And do you want to add anything so that, I can take in what you're struggling with as well and
Yeah,
incorporate it?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very similar for sure. So, I also have a little community where we put on events. And so I am always there as the cheerleader for the speaker because it's often a speaker trying out a new workshop or something. And I'm so comfortable being on camera like I am right now with talking to you guys. I'm super, and they'll do workshops on me and I might be sharing something really personal or private. And I just get into doing the workshop and there's just no problem. So I'm kind of proud of myself because this past weekend I'd set the goal to redo my about page on school. It was so hard. Like I don't know how many. I got my Loom all set up. Press that record button. My brain just goes empty. I did it and I did it and I did it and I did it again. And eventually, there is one that I've posted on school. So yay for me for doing that. But each different process, like I think the third time I did it, I just started crying. I didn't know why I was crying, and I just kept going. So obviously, there's definitely emotional stuff, and it's just something about I don't know what it is because I'm not scared of being seen. Obviously, I'm here, and I just yeah, it's just that I don't know.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing. I think we can dig deeper into that because there's definitely things underneath the surface that we want to dig up in that regards. So I'm going to address the script thing first, and this may help as well in case some things kind of resonate. Okay. So, um, but thank you for sharing because I know it can be really vulnerable to, because there's this like, I can do this. I've done it so many times. And then yet when I'm alone and I press the button, it's like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't even know why. And you're overcome with this experience. And it can feel really vulnerable and overwhelming when we don't know what is the cause, because then we feel like we don't have a solution or any direction of where to go. So we'll get into that. Okay. So first, Andre, thank you for sharing as well. Um, I want to share something about preparation because I can obviously you prepared, right? And the process of writing out a script in its fullest form in many drafts. Like the final draft that you ever get in a script is I don't know how many versions. Like it's so far from the first draft. Always, always, always. Yet when we read it, we're like, oh, this is great. And we think it's kind of like the overnight success, right? We only see that product, but we don't see everything that happened before. So it's like the process of over preparing and writing the script and rewriting and writing in all your thoughts. So you have that, right? There's no such thing as over preparing, because what that does is it gets it into your body, it gets it into your system, into your mouth, into your mind, into your soul, into your beingness. And then when we get there, we throw it away. And there's a way to throw it away. I mean, if we were just to write speaker notes and go from that, we don't have the substance underneath it. We don't have everything that we discovered and learned along the way, all the nuances, all the little nuggets, all the little revelations and aha moments that we get when we're writing the script. And we rewrite it and rewrite it and we get rid of stuff and then we bring stuff back, right? That's a process. So don't let that go. And that's okay that you have that. And when you come to reading, I struggle with this too. Like I practice this with the workshop with Evelyn, and I'm going to test this. I'm going to just script it. What happens? I end up reading because it becomes a crutch, right? So what we want to do with the process of writing is that becomes our homework. That becomes our preparation. But when we show up, that's not what we hang on to. That's not what we show up with, because what can happen is we just rely on that and then we let go of ourselves, not in the way that we want to let go, but we forget about our essence and our presence and being present. And what connects you with your audience is presence, right? The engagement, when they feel like they're really in your mind. And, you know, when you watch someone on screen, a character, or even someone speaking on stage, when they're fully embodied, you're in there with them. You feel their emotions, right? So it's great that you're working on the script. So keep doing that. And then I'm wondering if you can share, if you're open to sharing where you're at in terms of what you're using right now. And I'll let you share your screen so we can kind of break it down into how you can take that. Let me just yeah. How you can take that and break it down into speaker notes, but keep the essence. So then it becomes speaker notes for you, not just to trigger the things that you already know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So do I just so I don't miss it, that I didn't misunderstand, do I show you all of the text, the things that I wrote?
Yeah,
Or
it'd be
do I?
great. Yeah, if you
Okay,
can
great.
share what you're working with now, because that's what you're showing up with, right? And that's what's
Yeah.
pulling you to read. So let's take a look at what that looks like right now.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Because I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm looking at this screen. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just looking at this screen. So
Yeah.
just so
Oh,
you
no,
know, like,
no worries.
okay. So this is what I'm working with, and I'm trying to make sure that I structured it in the same way that I structured the challenge specifically around the limiting beliefs, so that when they watch the video and they do decide to join the community, there's no misalignment of congruence and expectations, but that I could also make sure that that everything that they have everything they need to start, even if they don't join the community, right? And so I wrote it like this. And the way I had originally thought, if I just see the titles and I just see the first sentence, this will help me remember what I'm trying to say and then just go, from myself, because these are all things that I've done and been through. So I was hoping, my experience can just fill the gap and I don't sound like I'm reading. But then when I'm actually recording the video and I have the camera in front of me and I have this text behind me, and I start specifically messing up the introduction, that's when I go more into this reading mode. And that's what I've observed so far. So I don't know if maybe the way that I'm writing it is too focused on packing it all in, or if it's something else. Yeah.
Okay, a couple of things are coming up. I'm going to ask you a question. Do
Hmm.
you feel that when you deliver the script that you visualize it being delivered with all these points every single time in the same way?
Like, consciously, I don't want it to be like that, but subconsciously, what I realize is the reason why I'm trying to do it with a script is because I don't know if you can relate to this, but context matters so much when people are receiving information. Like, I don't want to make a YouTube video where people are receiving advice out of context and they will go and take that advice and hope it, like, I'm going to be very extreme here for a second, and hope it helps them change whatever they're trying to change, but it doesn't because they didn't know the nuance, right? And so I'm trying to be very thorough with everything that I'm doing in providing what the nuance of the experiences I had as well. So that's
Okay.
why I always try to stick as close to what I'm writing as possible. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of expand, like zoom out, just because I know it's YouTube and there's filming and there's editing and I'm familiar with all this. So I want to see if there's pieces in
Yeah.
there that may actually help you just with this process. So in your filming process, are you self like recording and then self editing, or are you just doing it in one take? What's your kind of plan, overall plan for from like script to delivery?
So I do everything myself. I edit, I record. Like sometimes my wife will help me with placing the camera because I might not be able to put it where I want to due to my disability. But other than that, I do basically everything myself right now.
Okay, and how much
Yeah.
editing are you doing, and how many like resets? Are you trying to go through the whole thing at once, or do you kind of like do the intro and then do the next piece? Are you editing content and footage in like B-roll to help with edit points?
So I plan to I like using B-roll that shows what I'm talking about or that
Mhm.
shows something else that is relevant to that helps tell the story. Let me say it like that. And when I usually record, I try to record it all in one take so that there's no, because I always feel like when there's a lot of cuts in a video, it feels fake to me. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to be as authentic, like this might be a limiting belief, but I'm trying to be as authentic as possible when it comes to the delivery. Because I always imagine if someone would invite me to speak, because that's my goal eventually, I'd want to sound exactly the same as I do on the videos
Mhm.
because that like I'm trying to show up as myself as much as possible so that there's no difference between what I'm showing and who I am. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. I'm gonna just say one thing about the process of recording on YouTube. I love that you
Hmm.
are using this opportunity to practice for live speaking, but
Hmm.
also let that go, because that pressure for what you have right now, that's why I love film, because there are retakes and there are resets and there are fumbles, and we get to reset ourselves in that moment, and it doesn't take away from your authentic self. So if
Yeah,
it's the words that are jumbling you, it's okay to just reset, take a step back and restart, because you have that ability to edit. And if you are editing yourself, you will get to a place where you know the edit points and you can reset yourself where you know that it's not going to affect your edit, if that makes sense. I know I can kind of go on a
yeah,
tangent. I don't want to go down that road, but I just wanted to share that. Um,
yeah,
Remove that pressure from yourself right now for this process, because you're building your restarting your YouTube channel, right, presence, and you will get there. But right now, as we're starting,
yeah,
let's work on these things, the foundational things, so that at some point when you are being asked to speak on stage, it's like it's already in you. You've done it so many times. Something that a coach had said, I can't remember who, but it's like we ourselves will feel like we're broken record, right? Because we know what we're talking about so deeply and ingrained that we've said it so many times. We've told this story so many times, and it will feel like a
yeah,
broken record. And I know a limiting belief that happens for me. It's like, oh my God, I've said this so many times. Do they even care? Like, is this boring? Have they heard this
yeah,
before? But people need
yeah,
7 points of contact before they even like want to engage with you. It's okay to send an email 3 times with the same message but written in a different way, because they're not
yeah,
gonna they're not gonna like, have you ever got bored of hearing the same thing? Like, I know I've been researching things on diet, eating healthy, and I reread the same stuff year after year because I need to be reminded, right? We as
Yeah.
humans forget, and we're so inundated with information that we can read the same thing and still not get it, and we have to read and read again. So I hope that piece helps. Now I want to go back to the script and how we can take this and help you. You will find your own process with
Yeah.
writing your script to help you, but I want to give you
Mhm.
some tips that you can test out and see if it helps you. And if it doesn't, go back and then find another way to get to that point. Okay. If that's okay. If
Okay.
that works for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if
Can,
you, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
mind if I just ask a question for my own clarification?
Yeah.
So in the for me it always helps to understand what is the what should my goal be in the beginning. So from what I've understood, if I could just rephrase what you said in my own words to make sure I understood it, the goal in the beginning should be to find a consistency of getting it out there. So in this case, even if I mess up a take, for example, if I find a way to pause and then fix it in the edit and then just restart from the point where I messed up, that could be, for example, one of the ways to do it. But the goal, if I understood you correctly, the goal in the beginning is just to get it out and
Yes.
then refine the process. Is that true? Did I understand that?
100%. And also you can use editing points to help you with fumbles. So
Okay.
like do you mind scrolling up to the top of your script? I see that you've broken it down
Yeah.
in chunks. What would help you if you are editing it yourself is knowing the content that you're gonna like the B-roll that you're gonna be using, and then
Mhm.
placing it in the script of where you will be inserting it. This is a bit more work, but if you're doing it all yourself, this is actually going to help you in the long run. And if you
Mhm.
already know, because then you know that's an edit point for you, right? So if you know
Mhm.
that's an edit point and you're learning your script, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is just one YouTube video. And how long is this? One?
So the goal is to be no longer than 8 minutes
Okay.
max, right? And I haven't been able to finish the entire. I haven't been able to finish the take to know how long it actually takes me to make this video. Like I've done, I think, a total of 12 attempts of this video, and I haven't. This is the important part. I know uh, nothing is hard nor easy, but I haven't felt like any of the takes that I've done so far are are edit worthy, so to say. Because I was
Okay.
having the limit the belief that I needed to make it like a live presentation.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and do it with what we also discussed just now, without having that pressure of saying, okay, it needs to be exactly like when I'm speaking on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm just writing this down. You said, mark the B-roll placements so that I know, when is it okay to cut? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah. Okay. I love this. I'm going to give
Okay.
you something that you can test out. Hearing that you've tried to run it like 12 times. Okay. So this one, there's no goal to get it in a oneer. Okay.
Okay.
There's no one take. We're just going to let that go completely. We're not in the world of oneers. Okay. So
Yeah.
when you place the B-roll in your script and you know where the edit points will be, where you can cover up, where it will literally be your voiceover in that section, right? Unless you're putting it
Okay.
with your face on the side, but you can do a quick edit where you bring it in and, I'm sure, um, are you doing that actually is a good question. Are you with the B-roll, are you making it full screen or is it just a section of the screen with you still talking?
So I'm doing both because some things like my goal for this video is to do both. Like I want to show specific scenario. Like one example I have is like I was in a situation where I thought I needed to have stairs with a railing so that I could go do wash, right? But I'm going to show that, and then I'm going to show how I overcame that, and that's going to be full screen,
Cool.
right? But then there's going to be examples of me talking about a specific concept, and then the idea is that the concept is just explained on the side, but it's still you can still see me talking head,
Okay.
right? So those are the ideas. Yeah.
So let's position the full screen B-roll in the script so you know where those are. And
Mhm.
then you can make another note for like the shared screen with B-roll as well so you know where those are.
Mhm.
Because why is because the full screen edits I want you to compartmentalize your script. So you're really going to work on that chunk. And you're only going to work on that
Mm-hmm.
chunk until you're happy with that chunk, and you're not going to move on when you're filming. And this is all in one take, in essence, but not one edit, if that makes sense. You're just going to keep the
Yeah.
camera rolling while you're working through the script. And you
Mm-hmm.
can break it up in the edit. Do you use Final Cut Pro?
I use Final Cut, and if I'm recording from my computer, like if I'm explaining something, then I use Riverside. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So when you do that, you will break up the script into chunks, and then it'll make the script smaller into more
Mm-hmm.
digestible chunks for you to work on versus one entire 8 minute. That's like 8 pages in a script, right? Like essentially,
Yeah.
if we're talking about dialogue, that's 8 pages of not stopping at all. And then
Yeah.
the moments where you have shared screen B-roll, it'll give you, once you put that in your script and you know where that is, give yourself that moment to look at your script, because as soon as the eyes go to the new thing coming in, it's okay for you to look down. It's okay for you to breathe. It's okay for you to take a drink of water on stage. These are all normal human things, and pause for
Yeah.
effect or pause for the sake of pausing is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing,
Okay.
because
Okay.
people are given a moment to breathe and digest what you just said. They're given a moment to see what's happening on the screen. They're given a moment to just see you and your presence without speaking. So it's helping them have an internal experience as well. So it's not to be looked upon as dead space, or oh no, we have to fill up the space, because it's important for that, especially when you're talking about this kind of content as well. It's really internal,
Yeah.
right? It's a personal thing, and to give them those moments to kind of reflect and find their own ahas based on what you just shared. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. So I'm going to just rephrase it one more time in my own
Yeah.
words, so I make sure I understood it. So in those sections where the screen is on text, like let's say for example right here, there's going to be a text. It's okay, like in the transition phase, it's okay for me to go, for example, and then you know continue, like take a breath and then continue, or review my text and then just cut it to the point right before I start, and then go from there. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, I would do that more on before the full screen B-roll.
Hmm.
Reset yourself. Take as much time as you need to move into the next section.
Okay. Okay.
Because you know that there will be something they can look at, and you can use that to come in. And don't worry about the placement of your audio, because you can move that when you're editing, right? The point
Yeah.
of that is, and you can edit this out too, right? You can edit the
Okay.
chunks of you taking a moment out and then placing. That's the lovely thing about editing that I love. I mean, there's a beauty about theater too, to be live and
Yeah.
catching ourselves and improving to move forward. There's something beautiful about that too, but we're talking about filming here. So that's why, finding what it offers us is a beautiful thing, because it takes away a lot of the other pressures that we don't have to
Hmm.
put on ourselves. And so take all the time you need in the world. And even if you pause and start a new take, that's okay. The only time it's a bit tricky is when it's a completely new day and you have different lighting and you're wearing different clothes. Even if you put on the same clothes, your voice is a bit different. You speak in a different intonation, right? Because I've done a
Yeah.
lot of voice work. And when we come in and we speak and we do this thing and then we come out and we go back to that same place, I have to find that vibration to match the voice. It's like when we're excited, we're talking like this. And then when we come in the next day, we're a bit tired, but we think we're excited. So we're like, okay, and we're talking like this. We
Yeah.
can feel that, right? So that's the only thing I would say stay away from, is like, if you want it to be cohesive, just film it all in one sitting. It's okay if
Yeah.
you take as many breaks, if it takes you an hour, right?
Yeah.
And give yourself the grace to take that time and split it into chunks. Because I think right now when I look at your script, there's more we can do with the script as well. I don't want to touch it too much right now. I think if you take it and break it down into chunks, the only thing I want to give you that might help is, because what you said is that if you read the first line, it helps you already. You don't need to read the whole thing. So what I would
Yeah.
do is I would bold that becomes your script notes. Okay. So leave it in its format, but bold and capitalize or underline whatever you need to do to pull that out more, the parts that are
Yeah.
your speaking note triggers, right? And leave everything else smaller so that you're not reading it, and make it
Okay.
much bigger font so that that pulls your eyes. Because when you look at this, even reading, I'm like, okay, you have to sit down to read a novel. It takes time. But when you take the visualization to help support you in your speaking process and your filming, that will help you from using and leaning into this as a crutch into the script, because it's easy when you're searching for the words, you don't really know, and then you don't know which line you're at, there's not enough space. No wonder you're going to start reading, because now you're like, oh my god, the mind goes, okay, now they see me reading, I better read, because if I don't, I'm going to lose my place and I'm going to blank out if I go over. So it's all these things that can happen in a moment, and then we're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I can't do this, right? And then we get
Yeah.
overwhelmed. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would really make it not just, highlighting, but make it bigger, like it pops out. Like right
Okay.
now, the introduction and the some housekeeping before we start, I would just, intro, housekeeping, short, quick words that are triggers, where you're at, and then
Yeah.
make the words that you need as a prompt bigger and bolder, and then leave everything else so that you can't read it. It's hard to read. You don't want to go there. Your eyes naturally don't want to go there. Okay?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that like all the tips that you've given me, I'm gonna go implement them. By the
Yeah.
way, this is gonna be recorded, right? So if I
Yeah.
missed anything in my notes, I
Yeah.
can go
I'm going to
back
put it
and
in the community for you guys for sure.
awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was very helpful. I'll take what you've suggested and I'll run with it. Is there anything else that you think I should try outside of what we just discussed
I
before?
think,
Like,
yeah, I think I gave you a lot. I think
yeah,
definitely work with your script. And then if, we revisit the same script next time, what I would do is actually just dive into the script. But right now, I don't want to touch it too much, because I think these other things can help you, because it's your story, right? It's nothing,
yeah,
you're not reiterating anything or repeating from memory. It's from your personal experience. So this, you just need
yeah,
to slowly detach yourself from the crutch of the script, which we can all fall into. I myself do it still, if I let myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome, Alfina. Thank you. I really
Okay.
appreciate it, and I'm
Yay.
gonna I'm
Yeah.
gonna go take action on it. I wanna give Michelle some space to
Yeah.
to uh, to express her her help that she needs. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. We're good. We're at 10:30. It's good because it's just two of you, so I can really give you guys a lot of time. So I'm just gonna, do you mind unsharing your screen,
Oh
Antonio?
yeah. How do I do that? I just press stop here, right?
Yeah.
That's the.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
you are most welcome.
So, Michelle, yeah, so let's go back to what I was hearing is, you're very comfortable speaking on camera, but it's that moment when you're on your own and you're pressing record. So, can you walk me through what that is? Like, where are you? What are you recording for? What's the script? What's the message? Who you're talking to?
And I'm going to expand on that too. I don't think it's just when I press record. I think it's anytime I'm pre-planning what I'm going to say. Like, as long as I'm natural and I'm responding and you're talking and I'm talking, we're all good. But then it's like, okay, so now's the time I'm going to tell you about why you should be part of my community. And then all of a sudden, I just leave. Like, I, yeah, it's just like this freeze.
Question for you. Have you answered that question before? Like when you're in a workshop or on a panel, has someone ever asked you, tell us about your community? What's it about? Like if I were to ask you right now, what could you tell me about your community?
So, Divine Potentiality, it's a community of creatives. There's artists and musicians and coaches and art-centered entrepreneurs, and we all learn from each other and we co-create events and summits together, and and that's exactly what happens. And it's just like I catch myself, it's like, oh my god, listen to me, like something just happens. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just like
And have you talked a lot about your community with others? Have you shared it? like through interviews? I'm just curious because I don't know what you were on panels and
Oh,
workshops for.
no, not really interviews. So, because I'm always there at all of the events, sometimes we talk about it, and then I have members who love it, and they'll be talking about it, and I can piggyback, and we together we'll all say things, and then we'll build on each other. Or they'll say something, and it'll make me, take it. They miss something, and I'll add to it, no problem at all. But it's just that
Presenting a speech.
yeah, I guess so. It's just
Yeah.
like that, presenting these people think I'm trying to sell them something, or
Mm-hmm.
or I'm talking too much about myself, maybe. I don't know.
How do you feel when you're sharing about what you're building in your community? Like, what's happening for you inside when you're sharing with me, and Andre, like what is in your community?
I'm noticing right now that like my little heart's going a lot more, which it wasn't before when I talked the first time before you did Andre's part. But right now, like yeah, my heart is more like boom, 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 boom. Like yeah, there's something going on. There's something scary.
And the summit that you created, right?
Yeah, we've done 3 summits.
Okay, so tell me a bit about the summit and what happened. Like, what were the days about and what did you notice?
What did I know? So the last summit we did, it was a dream summit, and we had 7 different speakers. And what can I tell you about it?
What did they talk about?
We had one person do a writing workshop, which was fabulous. It was all about creativity. And so we got to, because it was about dreams, we took a dream and then we went into the characters of those dreams. And then from there, we retold the story and brought with different parts. And it was really fun to be able to share these stories and to transform maybe some beliefs that we had. And then we had creativity workshops that enhanced what we were doing in the writing workshops. And then there was also, we had a lovely roundtable discussion about why you should keep a dream journal. And that was really fabulous because we all learned from each other about the different processes we do before we go to bed, the way that we record our dreams. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And are you an artist yourself?
I'm a recovering artist, I would say. I love any kind of art. I'm part of Tamas's group. I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
guys know him.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm absolutely loving it. I've been to 2 of his co-creator sessions, and I just love it. I would say I'm a recovering artist.
Okay.
I think that is I think that's my story. The story that somehow I'll be able to tell at some point is like when I was a kid, every time I tried to get creative, because I'm like so messy, it kind of got crushed every time. Like I was more, instead of being appreciated for my beautiful finger paintings, it was more like, why did you get paint all over the carpet and the walls, And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And why do you
Recovering.
say recovering artist?
I think because of lack of doing stuff that I loved for so long. For example, 6, I was told I couldn't sing, so I didn't sing again for 35 years.
Mm.
That's a recovering artist.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that.
So
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you feel right now? How's your heart feeling? Is it still beating?
much better.
Yeah.
As soon
Yeah.
as you were asking me questions, and yeah, then yeah.
Because there's a connection,
Mhm.
right? There's a flow of energy that's occurring. And so one thing that I'm going to give you, there's lots to uncover here that we could work on for long term, but I also want to give you something that you can do right away to help you get recording, right? I'm assuming this is for your VSL because it's for your community, or is it like an intro video or something? that
I
you're
just I put a little video on the about page. It's only like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a mini VSL, right? Just to like, hey, this is
Yeah.
So one thing that you could do, because it's clear that when you're engaged in conversation with someone and there's a flow of energy and exchange with the workshop, and you're kind of talking with others and everyone's contributing, you feel like you're just a part of the team and collaborating. And that feels really good and easy. And you feel present and calm.
Yeah.
And so,
And can I just say, so yeah, the other thing I noticed as we were doing that, it's when you first start asking me questions like, what was the summit like? Like, I just feel like I'm on the spot and I don't really know what to say. And so, yeah, it was like if one of my other members was here and they were talking about, it would prompt something in my brain to be like, oh, and then there was this part where there was like fluffy, this thing, and I would, but it just doesn't come when I feel like I'm on the spot, I guess.
yeah, it's the same thing as what I said to Andre. It's like the pressure, right? Whenever there's pressure, it's like, I know people say diamonds made from pressure and it's okay to have pressure, but I also believe that we don't have to function in that way either to create whatever it is that we wish to create, especially as artists, right? And we're sharing a message. So it's okay to take time to warm up. It's okay that this is your process. It's okay that as soon as it's go time or action, you're not on and ready to go. It's okay. We don't all function that way. Even people that we see, like, and I reference film because that's where I've worked in for 2 decades, is sometimes people need warm-ups. They need to get take and take again, or they warm up before the button goes on because they know that's their process. So recognizing that this is your process is a positive thing, and to acknowledge that this is my process. This is your process. I need to warm up. I enjoy the flow and exchange of energy. It makes me feel comfortable that when I'm in collaboration with others and I feed off them, that's how you are as an artist. And that's perfectly beautiful. I love that because it means you're a great team player, you're fun to collaborate with. And that's a gift because not everyone is. Some artists are very solo artists. They work in a dark room by themselves and that's how they create, right? So knowing this about you, we can look at it as a beautiful thing versus something that's stopping you from recording or delivering the message. Okay. So how does that sound, first of all?
That sounds lovely. I've never even thought of it like that. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, awesome. Take that with you, and old patterns die hard, so we will naturally revert to the old way of thinking. So it's not going to magically change the way you think. You may still get scared and all that pressure is going to come back. But if you can revert back to this and slowly remind yourself every time, like, this is not my process. My process is warming up. My process is collaboration. My process is flow and exchange of energy. That's where you flourish. And to recognize that and really, really honor that every time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So how can we take that and apply it to what you're doing? So knowing that this is what pulls out for you from you the best parts of you, these golden nuggets, right? That just come freely. That's the artist in you, the creator. You're connected to your soul, is just free flowing. Is it possible, and there's different ways, and we can explore this, to have someone like we're doing right now and just have your setup and you just converse. You know, in your script, the points that you're trying to get across, you know what you need to deliver. You need to talk about the community, but we're not going to talk about the community as a whole because I can understand how it's hard. Okay, commercials are much harder than film and TV because you're delivering like facts. And facts, it's black and white, black and white, black and white. In a dialogue, we riff. You say something, I feed off you, I respond, and then sometimes the change of thought shifts and then you move into a new direction. But there's usually a driving force, a driving energy in that. In commercials where it's fact based and sometimes delivering a presentation, that's what it feels like. I have to deliver this piece, then I have to move to the next piece and then move to the next piece. And sometimes those transitions can feel very rigid because I'm like, how do I transition without it feeling blocky, right? And very rigid. And so that actually stops us from that that flow of presentation as well, because we're like, okay, I'm delivering. There's no time to breathe. There's no time to think. I feel like I have to just, it's like a machine gun. I'm going to get you all this information. And we don't want to do that. So if you can take a look at your script and look at the really important pieces that you want to highlight for your community, and you're going to work differently than Andre, you're going to work a bit backwards in the sense that you're going to figure out the question that you would ask someone or yourself to get this information. Like, for example, the most common one is like, what's your community about? But let's go deeper than that, because that's broad and that can scare you, because that's like, oh my God, I have to deliver all these things of my community. There's many aspects of your community, right? So we can break it down even further. Who is your community for? So then you can talk about the artist. And why did you create the community? What happened in your life that inspired you? If you can, because I can feel you're a really emotional person, if you can ask the questions and phrase them in a way that connects to emotionality, that will help you drop into your answer. Because like Andre, this is all in you. This isn't something you're creating from nothing or selling someone else's community. This is inspired from you and your experience and your soul and your desire, right? So if you can come up with the questions that connect to your personal emotionality, that's going to be your trigger points. Kind of like how Andre's first line was his trigger points. Your trigger point are going to be the questions. And then once you do that and work out the script, you can definitely have someone that you trust and are comfortable with ask you the questions. It's kind of like a director. When you watch documentaries and there's an interviewer and the director, they ask the questions over and over until they get comfortable. So a good interviewer can ask the right questions to get them into the comfortable place to share the answer that they're seeking for, right? Because if you just ask a broad question, you're going to only get what, it's kind of like chat. You get what you give. So if you have someone who's comfortable doing that as well and who knows you, it might be good to have someone like that support you. They could just be off camera and ask you questions and you can talk directly to them. So kind of treat it like more like a documentary style, an interview style. And you can position them right behind the camera so that your eye line, it looks like you're looking into the camera to help you because you want to be speaking to camera. So there's little tricks that you can do with that. But I think that would be a good next step for you to take just to get in the flow of breaking down your script to help you kind of tap into how you deliver your message the best. Because when you do that, your essence is going to sell the community. Like your personal experience and your passion for it, is going to come out versus, oh my God, I'm in my head. Because people can feel that when they're like, oh, they kind of lose you because you lost yourself. Right. So when we're embodying and we're fully in it and we're in the experience, people get pulled in. They don't even know why. They're like, oh my God, I'm so like captivated by a story. Why? Because that person was reliving the story. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
How does that sound or feel?
Yeah, I like that idea. So practicing by having some questions and talking to us, because if somebody else is excited about what I'm doing, then I'm going to be even more excited. It's so.
And tell them that. Tell the person. You can tell them what you need from them. So if you're like, if you can be really excited and really like engaged and passionate and be vibrant, it will help me. And they will do that because if they deliver and they're just asking, so who's your community for? Like you're going to feed off them, right? So you are someone, the more you know this part of you and how you work, the more you can have someone help you. It's like that famous Jerry Maguire, help me, help you. Except the other way. I'll help you help me. So if you want to give that a shot and give that a go and see how that feels when you show up, because now it's not about presenting to the camera. Now it's about talking to someone when the camera's there, which you said you can do already, right?
Yeah. This is gonna be fun. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do that. I should have some members maybe tomorrow, and I'll see if we can.
Yeah, and the thing that I want to share with both of you is that we naturally as humans have a way of doing things. And then if we see this way that is being done, we feel like we have to fit into that way of doing it because it's how it should be done. But everyone's process is so unique to ourselves and yourself. So the fun part is like, okay, we know that's someone's process. We know the end goal, but how do we find our own authentic way to that end goal versus this? And I'm speaking that specifically to the oneer. Got to do it in one shot because this is how I have to deliver, because this is how people do it. And if I don't do this, then I can't speak and I can't create a video and I can't increase my presence. If I don't deliver this in one go and if I don't talk to the camera, then I failed in doing a VSL. No, we create the environment that supports our process. We have the control and the ability to do what it is and set it up the way that we need, in the very same way that we set up our home. We set it up the way we want, hopefully, right? This is comfortable. This makes me feel good. This is where I want this thing. This is what helps me. This coffee machine is right beside my bed because I need my coffee in the morning. That's what helps me. That's my process. I don't do that. But some
Yeah.
people maybe
Yeah.
that's what they do. So it's like, if you need a reader, if you need someone to interview you, that's what you need to do. If you need to take time and you need to work, use the edits right now to help you grow your YouTube, and then working on public speaking is a different skill altogether. And you don't need to try and tackle and perfect that skill in this medium, because it's completely different. Here you have the ability to edit and set up your lighting any way you want. Public speaking is a totally different beast. So let's cross that bridge when we get there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Can I ask do we still have time for me to ask a question about
Yes.
what you just said? Because I
Yep.
like
Give me 1 sec. I'm right
it
here,
piqued my
but yes.
curiosity. Yeah. I'll wait until you're comfortable again. Like I'm in no rush. So
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
So you just spoke about something very interesting that I feel like we're kind of losing in today's society when it comes to, the ability to be okay with not knowing and figuring it out ourselves, because we can Google everything, right? I mean, we can see how someone else is doing it, and then we think that this is the way, like you said, we think that this is the way that it should be done. What are your thoughts on, how can, I'm going to use very specific words here just so it's very clear what I'm asking. How can someone detox themselves from having to have a specific, clear answer for example, editing, or for example, recording videos, to finding their own path? Is it a matter of trial and error, or is it a matter of approaching it a completely different way? Because I think that what you said about the creating an environment for it is very, very helpful. But how do we combat that thought of, no, there needs to be a clear way. Somebody else has already done it, so there must be a clear way of doing this so that it's quote unquote successful, right? Does the question make sense? Because I know I went like back and forth. Yeah.
No, it's a really, really great question. Thank you for asking that. I love it. And I think that there's trial and error, and there's learning. As we are coaches or community owners, we're also massive learners. I feel like we're always in calls, learning, workshops, signing up for the next thing. I just signed up for 2 different workshops this week. Do I have time? Not really, but it's jam packed. And
Yeah.
But the answer that's coming to me to the core of that question is, there's something that I always go back to in anything that I do, anything that I share, teach, coach, in my personal journey as well, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a student, anything, is we receive information from the outside because there's a lot of it, and we take what we filter that. We learn to filter what is helpful, what is not. We read, we listen, we talk to others, and then there's a point where we have to go inwards, and that's where the real filter happens. We have to practice connecting to our intuition, because when we learn all this, even though it's technical, but beneath all the technicality, it's you, it's your energy, it's your being that is driving everything that we set up. So in order to filter everything, it's like that that very cliche answer of like, we know, you already know the answer. And it's true to a really deep degree that we can give ourselves these skills to help us. It's kind of like they're just tools and skills to help us. But our intuition will guide us if we take the time to drop in and listen. And it takes practice, even more so than practicing being on camera. Practicing connecting to our intuition in that deeper way takes way more practice, lifelong, right? In order um, to find our process. Does that make sense? And there's something else I think that came up for me, but I just want to throw it back at you for a sec in terms of answering the question, the actual question.
So I'm going to just repeat back to what I understood in my words.
Yeah.
So there is the information that we receive, and then there's the internal I'm going to call it dialogue that it might be a twinge, it might be a feeling that helps us identify, that gives us a signal of what we like, if we're going in the direction that is helpful to us, or if we're doing something that's helpful to us, or if we're not. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, and
That's
I
what you
would
mean with intuition. Yeah.
yeah, and I would say it's more than a twinge. It's actually in a complete internal landscape. So it's a complete
Okay.
world. It's a whole world that's happening all the time, but we become so it's kind of like if you look at it as doers being versus beers. People who do and
Hmm.
people who just be. And the people who are being, they're just dropped into their internal landscape and living from that place. I'm going to go deep for a little sec here because this is how deep it goes. And then the doers are busy doing, learning, setting up, do, all these things that are outside the body. And so when
Hmm.
we talk about embodying an intuition, it's all internal. And the way that it works is, um, it's so hard to say this in one sentence, right? Because it's such a process. And
Yeah.
again, everyone's is so unique. So your internal
Yeah.
landscape and your internal process is different than Michelle's and mine. But we have to do the same work to find what that unique process is. And in that place, yes, you can find your own way. And yes, you will know what's right and wrong. But there's also trial and error in the internal landscape, in the external landscape. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And if it's okay, also for you, Michelle, if I have a follow-up question for that, right? Because it makes sense both on a deep level and also on a rational level. And when we get to the like, if I wanted to realize how I'm mudding out my intuition, right, due to the noise that I'm receiving and the filters that are not set up for my intuition, uh, where what would be the first thing that I'd be listening to have a sense of what is my intuition versus fear? What is my intuition versus, overexcitement? So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm being clear on it, right? Because it's always like everything feels the same until you think about it deeply. And the thing I'm trying to understand is what, quote unquote, I know this sounds so simplistic, but what am I listening for to know, okay, this is actually mine versus this is something someone told me 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to, I don't want to compare it to beliefs, but I want to compare it like just as an understanding, right? We can have beliefs that are so deeply grounded, they feel like they're our own, but they're not. And that's why I'm asking. That's why I feel like it's an important question. Like, what should someone who's mudded out their intuition be listening for to know that that's their intuition, right? I don't know if that question is like too. Yeah.
There can be a lot of layers for sure. Um,
Yeah.
what came up is there, so thinking versus feeling, right? That's
Yeah.
huge. So we can think of something and think and think and think and feel like we don't get anywhere. So when I talk about dropping into the internal landscape, there's a whole, this is why it's so vast. And I love this topic because this is actually what inspired me in the beginning to start this community. This is the core and origin of all of it, right? And
Yeah.
then the result is showing up on camera or connecting with your audience and building your audience.
Yeah.
But it's embodying, which is connecting to the feeling versus that's coming up, this, which is why it takes practice, because we have muted over the years and experiences and trauma. It can be light trauma or deep trauma. We mute the way that we feel about something. The deeper the trauma, the bigger the cover on the feelings.
Yeah.
And then it's harder to excavate. And there is a process to that, is we excavate that safely, layer by layer, right? And your intuition will guide where to excavate. We don't just go in and just have a bunch of machines and let's dig it all out. You gotta go with like, with where your intuition is saying, hey, there's something here I need to pay attention to. Like,
Yeah.
for Michelle, for you, it's like that. It was a very obvious thing. You're like, I just started crying. Like that's something to pay attention to. What's happening here that I need to look at? What's underneath this? What's causing? That's just a symptom, right? The symptom is the overwhelm, but what's the snakehead? I like to use the snakehead. It's like that's the tail, and the snakehead, we got to find it. We don't know where it is, but we have to trial and error sometimes, right? But then the more we tap into our intuition, the more we practice, the quicker we get at that, right? And then, so thinking versus feeling, and then the things that you can quickly look for is, and this is a deep, we can open up a can of worms, but I'll just touch on this lightly.
Yeah.
Is really the ego versus the soul, right? I kind of use that. It's kind of like the angel versus devil, whatever it is you want to call it. The words, place your own words, right? The good and bad or whatever. But whenever our body gets rigid or fearful or tight, that's something that we can pay attention to. Okay, it's not in alignment. But when we think of something, or we drop into the thinking and then we drop into the feeling, so it starts with the thought, right? Meditation is that's the gateway. We can just move into meditation, and that can be your entryway to it. And there's a lot you can do with that. So you start with the thought and then you drop into the feeling. And what's the feeling? If your body starts to get constricted a little, there's something to pay attention to. There's something there that's either limiting belief or it's come from somewhere that's not yourself. And if it feels relaxed and open and you feel present, it's those are the signs. But I will say this, we as human beings become very good at ignoring the signs. We become very good because of what society says. It's like, push through, be resilient, be persistent. Don't listen to that voice. What I'm saying is like, listen to it, but listen to what you need to listen to, right? And then you don't just listen to it at face value. You listen to it and then you do your own work and you dig and you discover and you uncover, and then you figure out what that's telling you. Because that's once it shows up in our awareness, that's just the surface layer. We're so deep and we have so many experiences where we come from that's what we want to pull out, and we want to give that. And I'm sure both of you have that desire, that pull to offer that to your community, right? It's like something that is inside. You created this for a reason, because it's not easy to do what you guys are doing. It is not easy to build a community and show up and provide content, get people together to deliver value. Like, it's a lot of work, but there's something driving you inside that this needs to be out there. That, right? That feeling. And so it's deep down and it's covered by all these experiences, life being, we can be resilient, but we also have to be vulnerable. So where do we find that balance? Does that make sense? I hope that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, so for example, I'm gonna just put it in my own words again, just to make sure, because I think, like I said, this is like super, because I think about this a lot, and it's super important as we go through the whole process of, facing our fears. So if I'm understanding correctly, there is always a signal, and like if I take the snake analogy that you took, it's basically the signal is the snake's tail, and you basically have to pull, and keep asking why and figuring out, like, step by step. Okay, I pulled this, I tried this. Oh, there's a little bit more, so I need to pull more. And instead of moving away from the feeling, it's moving towards it, right?
Yes, you nailed it. Move towards it and always ask questions.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
always ask questions.
Okay. Yeah, because like I've always been concerned about my intuition, because I always used to think, intuition is a learned behavior from comfort. but your perspective on it just, opened my mind a little bit to to the concept that there is more to it, and I should reapproach it from a different perspective. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to share that. I love talking about that stuff. So anytime. No questions. Yeah. Michelle, are you okay over there? You're coughing.
I just got a terrible cough going on. So
Oh no, in the hot weather? That's the worst.
Do you have a
yeah,
glass of water?
I do. I'm drinking some water, but
Okay, good.
thank you. Yeah, I think that was really interesting, and I'm so about that. About like we don't not following the way other people do stuff. That's a big piece of me. It's like finding your own way to do stuff. So I'm so glad that your advice all ties in with that. As I was doing that video, like for example, one part that was really uncomfortable was I was trying to show the calendar and then the classroom. These are all our upcoming events. This is where we put all of our replays, and it was just so not me. It was so like putting me in like teacher mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting to. I'm definitely going to have somebody ask me questions and try and be more flowy.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can also incorporate those too. They can ask, do you have a calendar? And you can use that as B-roll as well, right? And you can show that. So whatever it is you want to show, just turn it into a question. So there's a bit of homework that you have to do because it's not just writing the script. You have to flip it around and ask the questions. But it'll be good. It'll be a good process for you to do that because it'll pull you outside of, presenting, and you'll have to look at it through a different perspective, which I think will be a really good exercise. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad that you guys came in today, and I'm happy to have been able to share. And I look forward to seeing your guys's, video.
Before and
No
after.
pressure at all, but whatever you guys get with it, please share. I'll post this in the community, and yeah, wherever you guys end up with your process, I'd love to hear how it goes, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll definitely
Thank
share
you.
in the community. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys soon. Okay. Bye.
Thanks.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.